Friends, in this video for iThought Wealth, I'm going to talk to you on the topic what you own versus what you don't own. Most of us have our own thinking, our own investment beliefs, high conviction in a few things. So what we own is something unique to our thinking, and it's a good thing. There are investors who own stocks only in financials, but their conviction is so high that they are able to manage a portfolio with only one theme. And there are investors who go into multiple themes, explore, enjoy that process, and play a part in multiple ideas. There are also investors who take inspiration from others and build their own portfolio of themes based on who they are inspired by. Effectively, all of us have a right to own what we think is best suited for us. Effectively, we will not be owning a whole lot of things, right? You can only own 10 or 20 stocks. So we won't own a whole lot of things. The market is much bigger, so people will own ever so many themes. And sometimes those themes tend to perform, while what we own may take longer, or sometimes may not perform. Nothing new about this either. In every market cycle, I have never owned the sector that is the hottest. For example, in 2000 I had no tech, in 2008 I had no infra, and I don't own private financials from a long time. It's perfectly alright for me that those stocks keep going up, or people make a lot of money on them, they can become extremely overvalued, because in my mental construct, I feel it is riskier to own what everybody is owning, because one day they may run out of conviction and reverse their direction. Also, I am not comfortable owning very expensive parts of the market, and this discomfort comes very early to me. So what happens is, I feel uncomfortable about owning something even before it may go up a lot. But those are all factors connected to our personality, right? If you are a very defensive person, if you are very worried about losing your capital or your place in the stock market, then that defensive nature plays a part in deciding what you own. When I see new managements, new stories where people hype, I am reminded of the past where I have seen similar hype in many situations, and after 5 years they were nowhere. So when I see a new person, the first fear that comes to my mind is, what if these guys are nowhere after 5 years? And it has happened many times like that. In some cases where we think the management will survive 5 years, also the management has gone nowhere. So it's not that you don't have your fair share of failure where you are convinced, but the success where you are doubting is far higher than the failure where I was convinced. If I failed in 1 or 2 places where I was convinced, I was right 80% of the time where I was not convinced. But still, what I don't own should not bother me beyond academic interest. Beyond understanding irrationality around me, it should not affect what I own. Like, I should not feel that, oh, what I own has not gone up, but all those things have gone up. That is envy. I feel that there is no room in a healthy investor's mind for that feeling. On the contrary, you can feel that, yeah, this may not be deserving, but it has got a reward. But that is the nature of the market. Market is not a weighing machine. It's most of the time a voting machine, and rewards are always decided by popularity. And sometimes what is popular need not be what is prudent. So what we don't own need not affect us to the point where you lose sleep or sanity. You can still own what you own and sleep well. It happened to me from a very early age that the stocks which I owned, when discussed with a circle of public investors, always was not liked by them. But 6-7 years later, they would buy the same stock and own it to a big size and, display their position publicly with the 1% or more. But it didn't bother me, because whatever happened to my investing is what is relevant to me. What happened to their investing probably has no bearing on me. So what we don't own should be more academic. It should not be very personal, certainly not emotional. And that is where I distinctly believe that going on social media or anywhere and constantly pushing your stocks or questioning the stocks of others does not help you improve your investing. I also believe that actually even telling your stocks out to the larger fraternity doesn't help your investing, because the natural tendency of most investors is to question what they don't own because they want others to own exactly what they own. So that need cannot be addressed by me. It may not be even addressed by you if you are an individualistic and independent investor. So you have to basically stay away from that habit of talking about your investments when you own them. The only time you can probably talk about them when it's history and you are out of it and it doesn't affect anybody. So you can give a disclaimer and talk about it academically. This is something which investors have to understand and not waste their time on two things. Don't talk about what you don't own beyond making some academic impressions, and don't talk about what you own while you own. If you do these two things, then your investment journey with a stock or a portfolio of stocks will be very comfortable. Others won't come and disturb you by giving you their assessments. And you also need not bother about what naysayers think if you are fully convinced. Similarly, you don't have to go and attack them, and just because they give a view against yours, that is also not going to help your investing. So these are some of the points which I think you should know and distinguish how you are going to respond to what you own and what you don't own. That's going to be critical for your growth and evolution into a super investor in the future. I have all my good wishes for you to learn and evolve in this, to become the super investor whom we will all look up to and what you aspire to be. Thank you very much.